This is how you're going to name your files that you've been working on and upload them to the current assignment. It's called AZHand project. It's the final. You're going to do this before this Friday. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this text and copy it. Control C for copy. Then I'm going to go over here to my files. Go into my downloads folder. And you'll notice that when you save from Kleki, it saves it with these different names that include the word Kleki. But it's not based on the file naming convention that I want you to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this one. I'm going to hold the Alt key down, which is right next to the space bar, and click on it and select rename. Notice how it doesn't select the PSD. Make sure to select the PSD by holding the Shift key down and tapping the right arrow, which is in the lower right corner of your keyboard. And then pasting that text in there by holding the Control key down and tapping the letter V. I accidentally also copied the parentheses, so I'm going to delete that. And then I'm going to select this text from here to here and copy this by holding the Control key down and tapping the letter C, and then hitting the Enter key on my keyboard. It didn't like that because I've already got one in here that's labeled that, so let me find that one. And delete it. What I did was I selected this one down here and then held the Control key down and tapped this one, and now I can delete them. So once again, I'm going to go to the PSD file, which is this one that I just downloaded from Kleki. I clicked on it one time to select it. Now I'm going to hold the Alt key down and click on it and select rename and paste, Control V. Since I didn't select the PSD that time, I left it on there, and now I'm going to hit Enter on my keyboard. I'm going to do the same thing for the PNG. So I clicked on it one time, now I'm going to click on it again, select rename, Control V for paste. Now please make sure that you're changing this information. The first hashtag is what grade you're in. The second hashtag is what period you have me. So I'm going to say that this student, and please make sure to change this from aStudent to your first initial and last name. Now, once again, I can select this text. Since it's going to be named the same thing, I'm going to copy it, Control C, then I'm going to click here to select this one, Alt click, rename, and paste, Control V. This will save you a lot of time when you're naming files because you're copying and pasting instead of having to retype it every time. So now that I've got these two files, remember the PSD file has layers. The PNG file does not. You can use PSD to continue to change your images and make variations of them by changing up the colors. The PNG file is going to be placed in your Google slideshow on your finals, on your portfolio slideshow. Now that I've got these in here, I can go to my Google Drive and I can upload those 2 files. So I'm going to do File, Upload. It automatically goes to the Downloads folder. It also put those 2 files at the top. So I'm going to click on the top one. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and click on the next one down and select Open. After it uploads these 2 files, I'm going to go back to my desktop and delete everything except those 2 files from my Downloads folder. So now that they've uploaded, just to make sure, I can click on one of them, and then again hold the Alt key down, which is right next to the space bar, and select Preview so that I can see what it looks like to make sure that the image did upload. I'm going to click the right arrow and see the PNG, or excuse me, the PSD file. Now this one looks a little weird because it's a PSD. It has the layers. You'll see up here where it says Open with Photopea. We're not going to worry about that yet, but we'll do that later. I'm going to click the back arrow. And again, note that both of the files are in there, so I can close this. If you want to do a variation of your image, for instance, let's say I want a different frame. I'm going to change the frame color to orange, or this bright yellow gold orange. Notice how there's a couple of other pieces on here. This is because I accidentally didn't put everything in the same layer. So I have to find which layers they're in and make sure that they're the same. Now, because I'm still making variations of this, I'm going to go back to my File menu, select PNG, and do PSD. It's going to automatically download that file to my Downloads folder, but it's a variation, and I'll show you how to do variations in a moment. In order to save the PNG file, I'm going to do the same thing and click on it here, and this is something that you would do at the end of class. So it's downloading. If you want, you can click Show in Folder, and it's going to show on your computer where that file is. Now, if you've got a lot of files in here, especially PSD files, you can select all of the ones that you're not currently working on and delete them. The less files you have in your Downloads folder, the quicker your computer will work. So notice again, Kleki automatically saves it with this information on it. I still have my 2 original files in here. So if I wanted to save these variations, I can click here one time. Then I'm going to hold the Alt key down, select Rename, and copy that text by doing Control-C. Then I'm going to select the PSD file here by clicking one time on it, hold the Alt key down and click on it, select Rename, and paste Control-V. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a letter, the letter B in this case, because this is the second variation, so that now I have the original PSD file down here, and now I have one called B, 3B. I'm going to select this text because my PNG file is the same. Hold the Control key down and copy by doing Control-C. Click one time up here. Hold the Alt key down, click on it, rename it. Make sure to let go of the Alt key before you click on Rename. Control-V, and now I've got 2 variations of this file. One is saved as 3B. This one probably should be 3A. So I'm going to rename that one by clicking on it, holding the Alt key down, selecting Rename, and I'm going to add the letter A to that one. And I'm also going to add the letter A to this one by going through the same process. So now I've got the PSD file variations and the PNG file variations. I'm going to close this window. I'm going to close Kleki. I'm going to open up my Google Drive by typing in drive.google.com. I'm going to go to my student folder for this class. And I just noticed that the folder is not labeled correctly. So I'm going to Alt-click on this. And how come it's not letting me change? Let's see. Alt-click, rename. Remember that your folder should have the word art on the front because that's what class this is. So it says art. I'm going to put a hashtag in here, but this is where you would put your period that you have me. So it's going to be art 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First initial, last name, and then what grade you're in. But again, I'm going to put a hashtag here as a placeholder and click OK. Then I'm going to double click this to open it up. And I want to add those two files. File upload. And they're the two newest files at the top. You can tell by the time over here, 7:48. I hold the Shift key down to select both of them, and then I'm going to put open or select open. So that's how you save your information. And that's also how you keep your files to a minimum in your downloads folder. So I've got those 4 files in here. You can always tell a PSD file because Photoshop would need to be loaded on your computer in order to actually see an image like this. If I had Photoshop on this computer, I would be able to see the preview the same way I see these two. As always, if you have any questions, please ask. You can also go to this project, select Add or Create. I'm going to go to Google Drive. And if you want to put all 4 of those in there, you're more than welcome to. I've got the recent uploads. So I'm going to select this one, hold the Shift key down, and click on this one. And it's selected all 4 of those. Select Add. As soon as it's done uploading to Google Classroom, I'm going to click Mark as Done. And this might take a minute. Turn in and turn in. So that's what you'll do sometime before this Friday. We're going to do a couple of different variations, and we're going to save the PSD file and the PNG file every time, and that's how you turn it in.